Well, I think the only advice I've ever really been able to offer people starting out is sort of stick to your guns.
You have to stick to your guns. You have to find something that you can do that maybe other people couldn't do. And even if that seems different or doesn't fit into people's expectations, that's what's going to distinguish it if you can do it successfully.
Think about that and to have that. I'm just interested in what growing, because you didn't go to film school. This isn't what you did.
I couldn't get in.
Couldn't get in. They looked at your early work and said, this guy has no
chance.
future.
Exactly.
No, this is all over. So you.
크리스토퍼 놀란이 자주 언급하는 Stick to your guns라는 말이 제가 어려운 일을 겪을 때마다 저에게 큰 위로가 되더라고요. 극한의 리얼리티를 추구하기로 알려진 크리스는 인셉션, 인터스텔라 등의 감독으로 잘 알려져 있고 곧 개봉할 테넷의 감독이기도 합니다. 그가 왜 리얼리티를 추구하는지, 어떤 철학을 갖고 영화를 만드는지에 대해서 보여드릴까 해요. 그의 연설이나 인터뷰는 제가 다 번역했고 전 하이비 스튜디오 유한입니다. 그가 영화를 만드는 이유는 지극히 개인적인 경험에서 시작을 하지만 영화를 시청하는 개개인에게 자신의 삶을 돌아볼 수 있는 그런 계기를 만들어준다고 생각해요.
What happened was Emma Thomas, my wife and producer, and myself, we helped a friend sail his small sailboat about 20 years ago across the channel to Dunkirk. We made the crossing that the civilians made at about the same time of year. And we sort of did it more or less on a whim. And it turned out to be just ridiculously challenging. It was an appalling experience. It took way longer than it should have. We were out there for about 19 hours making that crossing in very, very rough seas. The channel was extremely rough. And it actually felt, at times, life-threatening. It felt dangerous. It was not a particularly experienced sailor on open water. It felt very dangerous, and that was without people dropping bombs on us. You know, there were no U-boats around.
You're
We
just
weren't
sailing.
heading into a war zone. We're just sailing. We're just having fun. And so I came away from that experience with a very different respect for the people who actually did that. It's unthinkably brave what they did. They got on their boats, they headed into a war zone across that stretch of water, and the sort of physicality, it comes back to the physics things, but the physicality, the logistics, the sort of what would have been like to actually be there was very cemented for me in that trip. And I think that was really the beginning of the notion of, well, if I ever had the chance, maybe one day, you know, try and express that in film. You know, what would it have been like to be there? Not just the history of it, not the politics of it, but the experience of it.
70페이지가 넘는 대본에서 대사는 달랑 2페이지뿐인 덩커크를 통해서 영국인들은 자국의 역사를 한번 되돌아볼 수 있게 되고 7,000명이 사망하고 200만 명 이상의 사람들이 집을 잃은 것으로 추산되는 실제 사건을 바탕으로 제작된 인터스텔라를 통해서 우리가 살고 있는 지구를 한번 되돌아볼 수 있게 되고 10년간 탈고한 대본을 통해서 완성된 인셉션을 통해서 우리가 살고 있는 현실을 되돌아볼 수 있게 되는 것 같아요. 문자 그대로 필메이킹 하는 감독이고 현실의 중요성을 역설하기 위해서 관객들에게 진짜 경험을 하게 해주기 위해서 진짜 로케이션을 선호하고 CGI를 최대한 쓰지 않고 자신의 직업의 정의를 그대로 보여주는 사람이라고 생각합니다. 명감독이라 그런지 자신이 원하는 장면을 끌어내기 위해서 배우에게 혹독하게 요구하는 경우는 있지만요.
Well, I just thought, okay, you know, everybody was cold at that point. We've been shooting in the elements, and it's not like I was the only one in pain. I was just the only one in the specific pain. And so I didn't want to hold up shooting or say anything. And at some point, I wasn't sure if I could feel my toes, or then they started to tingle, and then I was feeling all sorts of weird flashes, and things were getting a little like kind of hazy around the edges, and that's when I turned to Nilo, our first, and I said, hey, I don't know that much about hypothermia, but what are the symptoms? And he said, why do you want to know? And I explained what was going on. And he said, oh, like right now? And I'm like, yeah. So then he went over to Chris, and Chris was like, okay, let's roll right now.
Use it.
Use it. And we were done shortly thereafter. It was
Well, to be fair to myself, there wasn't anywhere to go. I mean, we were in the middle of a vast expanse of water. We just had vehicles that had driven us out. So there wasn't any quick solution.
그가 갖고 있는 현실에 대한 가치관을 잘 보여주는 대학교 졸업 축사 영상이었고요.
Thank you. It's a tremendous honor to be here. When I was flying out here, I had an experience that I've had with increasing frequency. You get on an airplane on a day flight to take you across America, and the shades are down because they don't want the cabin to get too hot, save on the air conditioning. Good idea. And nobody lifts the shade as you take off. Nobody lifts the shade as you fly all the way across this amazing country. Nobody looks out the window. Everybody's there with their screen, with whatever it is they're doing. I look out the window and people give me dirty looks because I'm interfering with the light on their screen. I would go further than that. I would say it's an insult to reality. Before I go any further, I have to acknowledge the irony that I am someone who made a film, half of which is set in the cabin of an airplane where people are dealing with realities within realities. So I've certainly had my part to play in this, perhaps. But when you're flying in an airplane across this incredible country, you're enjoying one of the great modern marvels. You're getting a perspective on America, on our landscape, and where we are that no one's ever had before. And it speaks to the theme that I want to introduce, which is a respect for reality. I feel that over the last couple of decades, I feel that over time, we've started to view reality as the poor cousin to our dreams, in a sense. We've started to think of reality as this kind of grey pebble at the center of wonderful abstract thought that transcends it. And I want to make the case to you that our dreams, our virtual realities, these abstractions that we enjoy and we surround ourselves with, they are subsets of reality. Inception had something to say about this, and I apologize to those of you who haven't seen it because I'm about to spoil the ending of it for you. But at the end of the film, there's a spinning top that's spinning, and if it falls or doesn't fall is the key idea. Is it a dream? Is it reality? And the way the end of that film worked, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Cobb, he was off with his kids. He was in his own subjective reality and didn't really care anymore. And that makes a statement that perhaps all levels of reality are equally valid. The camera moves over to the spinning top, and just before the spinning top appears to be wobbling, there's a cut to black, and I skip out of the back of the theater before people catch me. And there's a very, very strong reaction from the audience, usually a bit of a groan, but the point is, objectively, it matters to the audience in absolute terms, even though what they're watching is a fiction, is its own virtual reality. But the question of whether that's a dream or whether it's real is the one I've been asked the most about any of the films I've made. It matters to people enormously, and that's the point about reality. Reality matters. It won't be transcended.
I'm an optimist when it comes to people. I think we're good at recognizing the things we're doing wrong and not necessarily fixing it right away, but at aiming and striving to try and
What
fix
about
it.
the rest of it?
더 잃기 전에 깨닫고 돌아가자라는 그의 일갈이 들리는 것 같아요. 이번 테넷 예고편을 보니까 뭐 3차 대전 혹은 그보다 더 심한 무언가를 다룬다고 되어 있더라고요. 그가 바라보는 세계와 현실을 경험해보고 싶고 한때 유네스코에서 일해보고 싶어서 발버둥 쳤던 저로서 작은 또 응원을 하고 있기도 합니다. 영상 마음에 드셨으면 좋아요와 구독 부탁드리고 저는 다음에 더 좋은 내용으로 찾아뵙도록 하겠습니다.
And I thought about what were the problems of the world, what were the terrible things we faced. Racism, income inequality, warfare. I could go on, but you know this list, and the reason you know it is it's exactly the same today.